February 14th, 2015. And anyway, so anyway, I walked ahead of Mike to the to get a seat or whatever at this place, and as I say, I don't know if something maybe happened to it on the way from the bar to where we were sitting, or to where we ended up sitting, or if something was just done there at the counter. And I wouldn't have been surprised if something happened at the counter because of the weird way this guy was acting. But and he seemed to already know Mike. He was looking at Mike and kind of having that smirk and a smile and looking over at him. So, but I can't say for sure that he did anything, because I'm really not sure. And there was also a woman there, and she seemed kind of clued into something as well. I don't know what their jobs were aside from bartending, but I had a really weird feeling that they had something to do with the FBI. And I don't know why I thought that, but it seemed that way. Something about it felt FBI-ish, and about those bartenders. So anyway, so then I was sitting down, and I had, I felt fine, and then I had a couple of drinks, and it was, I don't know how many drinks I had, like sips from this glass that I had. I don't think it was that many. It was like maybe like 5 or something. It was like just a few small sips, from a regular one of those short glasses again. And it wasn't a shot glass, by the way. It was like one of those tumblers, that you typically put like a vodka, soda, or tonic into. And then all of a sudden, it was like just wham, something hit me, and I was feeling dizzy, and like all of a sudden I felt extremely drunk and kind of dizzy and lightheaded, and I started saying things. I started acting and talking like I didn't normally, and I told him, because we were talking, it was so loud, I had to like talk into his ear, and I remember saying something like that I liked him, and Nanette, and Nanette, come here, Nanette, come over here, good girl. So I ended up starting to just talk, like chatting, and started saying something like I liked him, which is not something that I would typically tell someone. And what it felt like to me was like, and I actually recognized it as this one kind of drug that I was given one time by some individuals who worked for the government, and his mom was actually involved. And like when I was a kid and a preteen, the government had experimented on me with a whole bunch of different kinds of drugs. Some of them were kind of like club drug types of drugs, and some of them were like sedatives and tranquilizers and Haldol and all kinds of things to like punish me when I tried reporting things about them. But this one drug that I was given once, I believe it was in an injection form, not because I drank anything, but it had made me feel the exact same way. And it was like I felt really affectionate all of a sudden. I felt lightheaded. It was kind of like, I haven't ever tried ecstasy, or E as they call it. I've never tried that on my own with someone telling me that this is what this is. But I think that is what I was given one time by the government, and that made me act and feel and talk the way I did. And it felt like the same kind of thing that was in my drink. And it was not, I did not have a normal reaction whatsoever to the drink and alcohol that I've ever had with the drinks. So I remember I said this to him, and then he said, okay, you know, he wanted to, you know, he said he wanted to go to his, we'd go back to his place. And I remember thinking that, okay, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And yeah, I'd make out with him or whatever. And I think even though I was talking and actually, I really don't remember too much more besides that, I should say. But then we were outside and we had to walk back to the car where he had parked. And I couldn't walk hardly at all. And I hadn't even finished this drink. Like, I'd had a couple of sips of this drink, and then I set it down. I didn't even drink the rest of it. And it was left there. It was left there on a ledge where anybody could have picked it up after me. And so, you know, I was walking down the sidewalk with him, and either it was on the way over there or at that time, I think it was at that time, he dropped some money from his pocket, like specifically dropped it, and then he waited for me to reach over to retrieve it, and then acted really cocky about it. Like, here I was bending over picking up these coins that that he had dropped, you know, like I was some kind of a beggar or something. And and then he grabbed my arm and was having to support me, and I kept dropping my purse. And you know, maybe it was just more of this messed up government stuff where he decided he was going to predict that I would drop my purse, so he decided to drop some of his change first, and then was indicating to government individuals who do all this psychic crap and tortured me over it. Maybe was indicating that, okay, and now next she's going to drop her purse. I mean, I don't know, because they did all this kind of placing stuff all the time where they would try to predict stuff and make placement or marks of what they thought would happen, and then they'd have people observing them to see if that is what happened or not. But regardless of why he did what he did, I had a little coin purse. It was like, well, it was a wallet. It was like a purse wallet with like a snap thing. And, you know, I held it as a clutch. It was a clutch. And I kept dropping my clutch. And, like I couldn't hold on to it. And I mean, like, why couldn't I hold on to it? That doesn't make any sense. But I was so out of it, I couldn't hold on to my clutch. And so then we were back in his car, and we went to his house, and I had a splitting headache, and then he said he would give me a massage for the headache, and then he ended up having sex with me. And I just remember that I hadn't wanted to have sex with him, and I had told him I wasn't going to, and I was waiting until I was married. I had told him that I wanted to wait till I was married. And he just went right ahead. I laid there. I didn't even hardly move. I couldn't even like raise my head or my arms very much. I felt like a dead weight. And he just went right ahead and had sex with me, and then said, I didn't know how little you were. Something about he didn't know how tiny and how little I was. And anyway, that kind of goes towards something that I said once to a woman who works in Coquille for the government and is married to a government man. And after I had my firstborn daughter, CPS had taken my daughter away from me because I was a teen, and they thought they would train her to be a government worker because I said I wouldn't do it. And I was desperate to find like a babysitting job or something where I could get some kind of credibility that should I knew how to babysit kids, and that I was safe around them. And so I had gone to this daycare center where there was this woman who I had already met in town and hadn't really liked because she seemed really nosy and she kept showing up and seemed to be kind of bossing my mom around and intimidating to my mom. So I walked into this daycare and I didn't realize that she was the one who was running it. And when I saw her, I mean, like when I'd seen her in the past, she wore these huge bulky coats and everything, and she looked short, but she, you know, she looked pretty bulked up. So when I saw her at this one place, she was extremely tiny. She was like 4'5" or something. I mean, she was, well, not 4'5". If I was like 5'5", she was about 4'11" maybe, and weighed hardly anything, and extremely teeny tiny bone structure. Like she took like a size 4 or 5 shoe. I mean, she was super small. And I had said to her when I walked in, I said, oh, I said, because I recognized who she was. I said, I didn't know how small, how little you were. I said, I didn't know how tiny you are, because you're all bulked up or whatever before. So I had made this comment to her about not knowing how tiny she was. And then what's sort of random, it could have been coincidental, but probably not, because Mike and his family knew all of these other government people, is that Mike said after he raped me while I was under the influence of some kind of a drug, his comment was, I didn't know how little you were. And so then I just remember I passed out, like I just fell asleep. And I do remember that those two men who were in his apartment, when they left the apartment, it was the first time. It was the first time I went home with him, because he'd take me directly into the bedroom. I didn't see whether or not there was someone in the living room or not, because I didn't see the living room. And there must have been these couple of guys over there. And at least I'm pretty sure. Well, it could have been the second time that I was there, because it was in the morning of either the first time or the second time that I was there that they were taking off. The two men were taking off from the front door of his place, and then after they left, it was either the first or second time, but it was the second time that he had a knock on the door after he'd had full sexual intercourse with me and raped me again. And someone showed up with a passport visa for him, and it was a courier that knocked on his door and said, here's your visa. And basically he was going to be leaving in the next day or two, or a couple days like that. He was going to be taking off for 3 months to another country. And I thought that was kind of strange. I kind of felt like I just thought, you know, is he taking off because he knows he did something wrong? Or is he taking off because he's going to collect his little reward money that is being stashed over in India, you know, which is where he was going. So that's what happened the next time I was there. And when I woke up, I felt completely disoriented. Both times I slept really hard. Like, it was kind of strange. I don't remember anything that happened during the night, but I slept extremely soundly, and almost woke up feeling like I'd been sedated. I mean, I'm not going to say I was, but it was much harder sleep than I typically had. And when I saw those two men leaving, I was kind of concerned that I think it was after I had that drink with the drug in it. I was kind of concerned that maybe something had happened to me with those guys too, because I couldn't remember anything, and I felt really so out of it. I thought maybe it was some kind of a knockout drug, and more happened to me than I even remember, you know, through the course of the night. But I can't say for sure, because I don't have any idea. And all I know is that he did have other people there. And that was then how that ended. And then he drove me back to my place. And then another thing happened after that. And or a couple of other things happened after that. So again, I kind of blamed myself. I thought I knew that something really bad had happened, but I wasn't sure why.